Two-time.
Boys about to go down. On me. You boys ready to get fucked again?
You're looking at the 2025 champ.
Let's not lose. The boys lots more exposed than Andrew's scrotum.
Just hoping to do good enough to not be last. Let's go.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Hopefully it's only up from here.
Here we go again.
Hello everyone, Connor here with your Week 8 recap. It's been a hell of a season so far. I feel like normally I do the recaps earlier in the year, so on one hand it's nice to have a little bit more to talk about. On the other hand, I have nothing good to talk about, so yeah, it's been a trying season, but nonetheless I am happy to be able to do this recap. My team showed the first glimmer of life and hope in many dark weeks, so that's nice at least. So yeah, I got a good recap planned. This is going to be a little bit of a pity party, so just brace yourself for that. Got some good stuff there, but then I'm going to dive in a little bit to standings, where we all stand, a little playoff preview. Week 9 actually has some huge matchups, so going to dive into that as well. But first, like I said, this is my recap, so I'm going to make it about me. My team has had quite the injury bug, and I'm going to dive into that here in just a second. But, I think it's helpful sometimes for people to be able to visualize the damage that has been done to someone's team. So I went through the effort of compiling video footage of every single injury that my players have sustained so far in this season, just because I feel like it really will kind of emphasize the brutality and unfairness that my team has faced so far. So we'll go ahead and watch that, and then we can dive into the recap.
Oh no.
Are you all right?
I live.
Someone must be controlling him. He would never do this.
Regardless, it's him or us.
I choose us.
Okay, welcome back. I know those images were a bit graphic, some of them, so I hope this kind of helps you all see just how destroyed my team was. So yeah, let's dive into it. All right, so first time maybe in ever league history, I am currently the lowest scorer in the league. My team's been hurt. I'm going to dive into that. I pulled some information that just kind of shows just how much it is not my fault and just the curse of the injury god. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see the players that I have or had rostered that sustained injuries. You can see week 3, that's when kind of everything went downhill. I managed to pull out a victory thanks to Lamar, but Mike Evans, he had the respect to at least score me some points before I went out hurt. James Conner, not so much. And then week 4, Malik Neighbors didn't really do much for me before destroying his knee. Lamar, he played like 3 quarters, 8 points, not very good. Obviously, first 3 weeks, or these 2 weeks, first 4 weeks, losing 2 of my keepers and then my 2nd round pick and my 3rd round pick right off the bat. Not great. Week 5, actually, my team sucked, but I didn't have too many injuries. Spencer Schrader, he was the number 1 kicker in the league. Somehow he totally blew out his knee. So he only got me 2 points. It's not often kickers get hurt, but when they do, they're going to be on my team. That'll be right at the beginning of the game. To add insult to injury, Spencer Schrader played for the Colts. I was playing Zach. Because he got hurt, the Colts didn't kick any extra points for the rest of the game. They instead went for 2. So Jonathan Taylor got at least 2 2-point conversions that week, maybe even 3. So that was just kind of insult to injury. Not only was my kicker not out there getting me points, but because of that, Zach's players were getting more points. Calvin Ridley, fucking hate the guy, 2.3 points. And then week 7 was a tough one. Both Darren Waller and Mike Evans went out with injuries. They didn't give me any points. So you can see right here, this is 8 players that cumulative. It's about 30 points, so not great. On the right-hand side are some other players that I have started, mostly as a result of all the injuries I have faced. They also just have not been very good. So week 4, Christian Kirk, 3.5 points. Woody Marks, 2.4. Rams defense, -2. Keep in mind, this was against the 49ers, who had literally no one except Christian McCaffrey playing as far as their starters go. Jameson Williams, 1.5. Cooper Rush, -, points. Spencer Rattler, I started him for 2 games after trading for him. Those 2 games he combined for about 7 points. You can see here, he did get benched in week 8. Prior to these 2 weeks, he'd actually been having a not bad fantasy season. His previous low was 11, and he was averaging, I think, 13 points on the year, which not great, but serviceable. So yeah, the 2 weeks combined that I had to start him, he scored less than any other individual week. So that was great. And then Quinn Johnson didn't get hurt. He just scored 0 for that. So receiver troubles. I'm injured all over the place, but receivers in particular have been not good for me. So what I did is I looked back through the past weeks, and I totaled what my starting receivers scored in each individual week. And then I looked through to see how many receivers in total outscored my 2 starting receivers. So week 8, my 2 receivers started, they combined for 7.9 points. There's 37 other receivers that scored more than my 2, mind you, 2 receivers. Week 7, 10 points, not bad. 28 receivers scored more than that. Week 6, that was a real high for me. That was awesome. 17.9. Between the 2 of them, they were a receiver 1. Not bad. Week 5, 8.5. Again, 39 receivers scored more than that. Week 4, 7.7. 37 receivers outscored that. And then week 13, this is when the wheels started to fall off. 13.6 combined. So not great. At this point, I've kind of convinced myself maybe I should just like at random pick up 2 free agent receivers and just plug them in, because at this point, me actually trying to start good receivers is not working. So I also tried to trade for a receiver. Quentin Johnson, proceeded to get hurt in practice and then has also had a 0-point game since then. So it's going pretty good. So I hinted at it. Injuries so far. So Malik Neighbors out for season. He was a keeper. Lamar Jackson looks like he'll be back tomorrow, but he was a keeper. I've missed 3 games with him. Like I said, I had to start Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, and Spencer Rattler again, and Mac Jones for the time that he missed. Chase Brown hasn't been hurt yet, knock on wood, but Joe Burrow going out has kind of fucked him. Fortunately, it looks like Joe Flacco's going to help that offense. Mike Evans got hurt, came back, and then got hurt again. He was my 2nd-round pick. He played in a couple games, missed 3, came back, got hurt again. So James Conner is also out for the season. I only got a couple games out of him. He was my 3rd-round pick. Aaron Jones played in week 1 and then proceeded to go on the IR, or maybe he played 2 weeks, but he was my 5th-round pick. Not great. Calvin Ridley, he just sucks, but he also, I don't think he's on IR, but he's missed at least 2 weeks, and it's looking like he's going to miss more. I have since dropped him because I hate him, but rest assured I will draft him in the 5th round next year again. Darren Waller, I was pretty hyped. It looked like my namesake, the Walrus, he was going to be my savior. And then he proceeded to get hurt and score 0 points, and now he's on IR. Spencer Schrader, I mentioned it. He was the number 1 kicker. Literally destroyed his knee, both ACL and MCL torn. Quinn Johnson, like I said, I traded for him. He immediately got hurt. Jameson Williams, Jameson Williams, he's not hurt. He just sucks. But he was my 4th-round pick, so that's a bummer too. And then not impactful to my team personally, but still kind of funny. David Njoku, who I did draft, has missed 3 games. Najee Harris, who I also drafted, torn Achilles out for the season. And then it's kind of cutting off here, but Kendre Miller, who I rostered for maybe a day or 2, then proceeded to tear his knee that very next game. So a little bit the touch of death. So just to contextualize this further, 4 out of my top 6 picks have missed at least 3 games already. Not a great start. 2 out of my 4 keepers have also missed at least 3 games. Neighbors is going to miss the year. 4 out of my top 5 receivers, now this is considering keepers and draft, are hurt. And then the other one is Jameson Williams, so not great. So my top 9 players, that's my 4 keepers and then my first 5 draft picks. Cumulatively, they've only played about 66% of the total possible games. So right off the bat, all my best players, basically a 33% reduction in terms of production. So not great. Across the league, there's been 5 players picked in the first 5 rounds that have missed at least 4 games. I drafted 3 of them. So the odds of that have got to be fucking tiny. It's a 10-team league. How do I draft 60% of the people that have suffered significant injuries? It's a mystery. So this has prompted me. I am cursed. I have got to have the worst injury luck ever, probably, and I can prove it. So this is the honorable mention section. T-Bay in 2023, he did lose both of his quarterbacks. Deontay Johnson was good. Anthony Richardson, bad keeper, but he did get hurt for most of the year. Nico Collins missed a couple games. Andrew, he's going to make some recurring appearances on this, but 2021, Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, Chris Carson, these guys were all actually good back in 2021. J.K. Dobbins was one of his keepers. He was out for the season before the season even started. And then A.J. Brown missed a couple games that year. 2021, Darren Waller, that was Jacob's 1st-round pick that year. He missed 4 games. Trey Lance, risky keeper, but kind of similar to Anthony Richardson. He missed 3 games. Deshaun Watson out for the season. I can't remember if this was an injury or the rape thing, but that's a little self-inflicted on Jacob's part, but if it's the rape thing. And then Dalvin Cook, 3 games. Michael, Christian McCaffrey, and Saquon. Kind of crazy just looking back that he had both those guys. They both missed extended time. Calvin Ridley, who I think was his first-round pick this season, missed 12 games. And then TJ Hawkinson, back when TJ Hawkinson was really good. He was a high pick for Michael that year. Cam this season has had some bad luck, which is also why he finds himself towards the bottom of the standings. Jane Daniels, George Kittle, Lamar Hampton, and then he has both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, who have they themselves not been injured, but Joe Burrow's injury does essentially neuter them a little bit. And then Zach has dealt with some injuries as well. To his credit, his team's actually playing pretty well so far. It helps when Jonathan Taylor scores 30 points a game. But CD has missed a couple games. Joe Burrow might miss the season. Might not. Kyler missed 2 games. Chuba Hubbard has missed 2 games, and now it looks like he's maybe lost his job to Rico also. So honorable mentions. Nick Finley in 2022. This was the cursed Shard Bowl for Nick. It was kind of crazy. I had a 4-week stretch this season where I didn't crack 100 points. Obviously the lowest scorer every time. But to put it into perspective, Finley, over the 4-week stretch, mind you, in the loser's bracket, so much higher stakes. Okay, sorry about that. My screen recording tool just froze. So, yeah, like I was saying, Finley in 2022 had an awful stretch of performances and injuries late in the year that contributed to him having probably the worst 4-week stretch, I think, ever. So just for context, prior to this week, the original 4-game losing streak I went on, I scored over those 4 weeks 360 points. In the 4 weeks of the losers bracket in 2022, Finley scored just under 300 points. I think it was like 296. So I was 4-time consecutive lowest scorer. I scored 79 points 1 week and 80 points another week, and I still managed to outscore Finley by 60 points in that stretch. So really, really like horrible luck there. Kyler, Debo, Derek Carr during the Shard Bowl, JT, this was Breece Hall's rookie year. Damian Harris was actually good in 2022. Bateman was actually good as well. So tough luck. And then Andrew last year, I don't love the fact that he probably has the strongest competition as far as most injured, and he happened to lose the league that season. So I hope that does not bear out for me as well. But CMC, obviously with the Achilles stuff, Trevor Lawrence, Isaiah Pacheco, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, pretty significant missed games for a lot of his top players. So yeah, definitely I think he makes a case for most injured, but considering that there's only been 8 weeks so far in the season to have been this decimated with injuries, basically, like I've touched on, for the most part, all of my top 5 picks, with the exception of J-Mo, but he might as well be hurt, and then 2 of my keepers, I think it's kind of historic level of injury. So, like I said, I'm a great manager. It's not my fault at all. I will bear no responsibility or blame for this. And it's just not fair. But we got to move on to the league, because this is a league recap. So to just quickly recap week 8, I lost to Andrew. Michael beat Jacob. Zach, his team's been on fire. He beat Bobby. Thomas squeaked out a victory over Cam. And then Gregor managed to get a win over Oscar. So where does that leave us? I'll get into that. But first, I want to just remind everyone about the playoff format. It's a little bit confusing. Being a 10-team league makes it a little bit more complex than when it's 8 teams, because separates into an easy 4-4, but not anymore. So the objective behind this was mainly, I think 2-week matchups in both the playoffs and losers bracket is important, just because a lot of random shit happens. I think just for the sake of there being kind of good drama and just kind of more competitiveness, I think a 2-week matchup is really important for each round. I also think it's lame for buys. Like, I like fantasy football, especially towards the end of the year. I like watching football because of fantasy football, and if my team's just sitting on a bye, that's really unexciting for me. And I think the whole point of fantasy football, beyond us being able to get together and shit talk and stuff, is being invested on a weekly basis in your team's performance. And if your team's on a bye, I think that's super lame. So this is kind of the structure we came up with. So just a reminder, top 4 teams are going to make playoffs. Top 4 defined by best record, and then points for is the tiebreaker. Points for is really tight right now. I'll get into that. So that's really exciting. We got 5 weeks left. The losers bracket is going to be the bottom 6 teams. Here's kind of a photo of how this looks. It's a little confusing. So in this next slide, it breaks it down a little bit more. So week 14, the bottom 6 teams will compete in the losers bracket. Week 14 is technically going to be a single elimination round. However, the point totals scored in week 14 are going to carry over to week 15. This is kind of a way to simulate a 2-week matchup without actually doing it. So as this kind of plays out here, seeds 9 and 10, so the bottom 2 teams, are going to be in the danger bye. So they're technically not going to be matched up with anyone in week 14, but their points still count. In this format, basically, it kind of rewards being not one of the bottom 2 teams, because you technically have 2 chances to skip out on being in the Shard Bowl. So week 14 is going to be a single elimination between these matchups, the 6 seed versus 7 seed, and then the 8 seed versus the 5 seed. Again, this is defined by record, and then points for as the tiebreaker. So in this example, the 5 seed and the 6 seed both win. They scored 115 points each. And then the 7 seed and the 8 seed scored 105. So seed 6 wins this matchup. Seed 5 wins this matchup. They both are safe. So kind of how we did in the World Cup year. They're going to bump up into kind of the safe zone. So they're going to be a consolation matchup basically, but that's your kind of ticket out. So being able to win that first week is huge, but even if you don't win that week, your points are going to carry over into the kind of cumulative 2-week matchup. So just to recap, week 14, these are the points scored by each team, and then the danger bye. So the bottom 2 seeds, they're not directly facing anyone. They don't have a chance to win and get out of the losers bracket. In this example, they each score 100 points. So then we get to week 15. So seed 7, who lost that previous matchup, they scored 115 in week 15. So we're going to add that score plus what they scored in week 14. So that's 105. So their cumulative 2-week score is going to be 220 points. In this example, the 10th seed scored another 100 points. So it's 100 from week 15, 100 from week 14. So that means that their cumulative 2-week score is 200 points. So that means the 7 seed wins, and they are essentially safe. Similarly, in this example, I just made these numbers easy. Seed 8 scores 115 points in week 15. That plus the 105 that they scored in week 14 gives them 220. Likewise, seed 9 only scored 200. So that means that seeds number 7 and 8 won, and thus are safe. And then just so that there's the sake of competition, the 5 and 6 seed who won and went into the safe zone, they just play kind of a consolation matchup, whatever. But again, their scores do carry over, so every week is still going to matter. And then basically, week 16 and 17 gets a lot simpler just because we've kind of sorted things out. It just took us 2 kind of confusing weeks. So week 16 and 17, we're back because again, seed 9 and seed 10 lost their cumulative score between week 14 and 15. They play in the Shard Bowl, so just a normal 2-week loser-take-all matchup. And then the consolation rounds are here. So again, it'll be a normal kind of 2-week matchup for consolation. So I know it's not super clean, but I think it's the best combination of keeping everyone engaged, competitive. There's a lot of motivation to not be the 9 or 10 seed because you essentially miss out on kind of the opportunity in week 14 to win. So I think it makes week 14 super exciting. And then with the points carrying over into week 15 and being kind of a cumulative score after week 15, I think that keeps everyone engaged as well. We're obviously not going to be able to set this part up in Sleeper. So similar to how we do the World Cup, it'll have to be kind of set up on a spreadsheet or something. So standings right now, Andrew's in first place, 7-1. Michael is 6-2. He's in second. Zach and Thomas are both 5-3. So as of right now, those 4 teams would be in the playoffs. Jacob and Gregor are both 4-4. So they're certainly in it. I am 7th, 5-3, but my points for is just so low. It would be kind of tough for me, I think, to. I would have to win out and also drop some huge fucking scores. And when your receivers combine to score like 10 points, chances are that's not going to happen. But then we have Bobby, Oscar, and Cam all at 2 and 6 at the bottom. So remember, points for is the tiebreaker. So this is super important. For the playoff push, Zach right now is actually leading in points for. So if he can continue to win, he's in pretty good spot. Andrew is second in points for. And then we have a really tight grouping. Michael and Thomas, they are within half a point from each other. So that is super close. And then Gregor and Jacob are also super close. So, all these guys are within 15 points, and we still have 5 weeks left. So a lot can happen. And then as far as kind of the loser side of it goes, Bobby has the advantage in points for. So if he can actually string together some wins, then he could at least position himself to be in that, like, potentially the 5th and 6th seed. But otherwise, like I said, me, Oscar, and Cam were all, 80 to 100 points shy. 5 weeks is a lot of time, but it's not super likely. But it'll certainly be interesting between the 4 of us as far as points for us go for the seeding. Because like I said, you do not want to be in that 9 and 10 seed because you just have kind of one less chance to save your season. So I found a website that will sync with our sleeper, and it can look at total points for, current record, and then it also can see the upcoming schedule, and it runs a simulation of every week. So this is what it spit out. Personally, I don't agree with it at all. Less than 1% chance to make playoffs for me is frustrating and wrong, but it is what it is. So it's looking like Andrew at 7-1 is going to be pretty safe. Michael being 6-2 is pretty safe as well. And then, it likes Zach's odds. I think the points for probably helps with that. But yeah, right now I would have Andrew making the finals. But last but not least, week 9 is actually a huge week as far as matchups go. Super exciting. Michael and T-Bay are playing each other, so this could have huge playoff implications. Not only is their points for super close, but their records. If Thomas were to win, then it would just really change the pecking order. Andrew and Zach play each other, so again, depending on how this other matchup shakes out, like this could have huge implications for seeding as well. And then Jacob and Gregor play each other, both 4-4. If one of these guys were to lose, that could be kind of it for them, depending on how the other matchups shake out. And again, their points for is really close, so that's exciting. And then me versus Oscar, if I could get a win, that would be huge just for the fact of seeding. Like I said, I really don't want to be in that 9-10 seed. And then Bobby and Cam, both being 2 and 6, that could have obviously some seeding implications as well. So it's going to be huge, huge week 9. Should be a really tight finish to end the year. I think all of us, the World Cup here is a little bit more lax, just with week in and week out, the pressure to win and stuff is not quite as high. So we're back, baby. It's high pressure. Literally, only a couple points, a touchdown here or there is going to swing the difference as far as the playoff race and seeding and all that. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the recap. Looking forward to seeing you boys in February.